do this again because it
Okay,
just
say it again.
So crepes.
I'm changing mine. No.
Asparagus.
Hot dog.
Cheese.
Ice cream.
Big pickled eggs.
Tie.
Scotch.
Cantaloupe. Does make me wonder why
Okay.
you might-
Okay. So now we're gonna throw it, but we don't throw it in the same order. Now we start again, and we start again with our hands on our heads. I know. And then we're gonna. So we do a different pattern. And so I would call out the food and throw it to that person. Okay. And if you can't remember, you can ask them. Okay. So scotch.
What is scotch?
Hot dogs.
Turducken. Cheese.
That's me. Cantaloupe.
Ice cream. Tie.
And you take your hand off.
I like to smack myself in the face. Thank you. Brownies.
Beet pickled eggs.
So you got this one.
No. Oh. Yeah, asparagus.
Pizza.
And then back to me. So say crepes.
Grapes.
There you go.
Just
Okay.
eat anything.
So we're gonna do this again. Scotch.
Hot dogs.
Turducken.
Cheese.
Cantaloupe. Sorry.
Take your party over.
There are no apologies in improv.
Ice cream. Tie. Brownies.
Pickled eggs.
Asparagus.
Pizza.
Great.
Awesome.
Scotch. Hot dogs.
Turducken.
Cheese.
Cantaloupe.
Ice cream. Tie. Brownies.
Beet pickled eggs.
Asparagus.
Pizza.
Grapes.
Okay. Scotch. Hot dogs.
Turducken.
Holly.
Cheese.
Ice cream. Tie.
Oh my gosh, who did I throw it to?
Brownies.
Aubrey. Beet
Ice
pickled
cream.
eggs.
Asparagus.
Pizza.
Jenna.
Grapes.
I forgot what we were-
Scotch.
Amanda. Hot dogs.
Logan.
Cheese.
Just
Ice cream. Tie.
Holly.
Brownies.
Travis.
beet pickled eggs. Aubrey.
Asparagus.
Ice. No, we're on the same boat. Pizza.
Jenna.
Grapes.
Amanda.
Scotch.
Hot dogs. Lie.
Logan.
Lori.
Cheese.
Ice cream. Jessica.
Tie. Brownies.
Holly.
Ah.
That happens. Just keep going.
Keep going.
Travis.
Beet pickled eggs. Aubrey.
Asparagus.
Ice. Pizza.
Grapes.
Amanda.
Scotch. Lori. Hot dogs.
Turducken.
Cheese.
Jessica.
Ice cream. Yeah.
Tie. Tie.
Holly.
Tie.
Oh, sorry. Let's go to Holly.
Brownies.
Travis.
Beet pickled eggs.
Okay. Some really good things are going on, which tells me you've already been together a while. What do you think are the things that already tells me that you guys have been together a while and know each other well?
She said
The
scotch.
scotch we drink after each other.
You laugh, right? You kind of laugh.
Scotch. And
You
turducken.
encourage each other, right? But you're already functioning pretty well as the team, okay? When I wasn't ready, right? A little bit on purpose. When I wasn't a little bit, my bad, but a little bit on purpose. You kept calling my name, right? Trying to get my attention. But you didn't call my name. You called my food, right? Because that's when you were like, Ty, right? And so patiently doing that instead of, you know, what some children will do, hey, you! Or throw it at their head. Or throw it at their head, right? Instead, you waited till I was ready, right? Which is a beautiful and wonderful thing, upon which I congratulate you. Also, you were holding, and again, you gotta be careful with your phrase, you were holding the balls when it was your turn, right? And you saw that it was gonna collide in the air, or you saw somebody was gonna end up with both of them at the same time. You would hold one and wait so that the team could proceed, right? Those are things that you could compliment your students on or coach them out of bad habits, because you will have mid-air collisions. The tendency in this game is to want to be fast and to want to catch someone, right? And that's the attitude with which you want to get rid of. We're not trying to catch somebody, we're trying to help them look good. We're not trying to catch somebody not paying attention. We're not trying to make somebody drop the ball, we're not trying to peg somebody in the head. Right? So you need to establish whatever ground rules you need to establish. My particular classroom, it's underhand only. We're not going to chuck it at somebody's face. And we're paying attention and we're going to be positive with each other.
So when you drop it, it's not like, oh man, come on, I can't believe you did that.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
is what the tendency is, especially the competitive kids. And the idea is to turn it around and say we support one another. Way to go, thanks for picking that up. So that's the whole idea behind improv, is that no matter what mistake is made, because there are no mistakes, you keep going and you keep going with it.
This is one of those games that talks about attention and focus. If you think about your children that have struggles with attention and focus, these games are challenging, right? Because people are talking everywhere. There are balls flying through the air everywhere. There are multiple colors going on. There's multiple sounds. There's 2 different patterns to follow. That is a lot. So some kids can really struggle with this. And so really doing the pattern, you're adults, so we're not going to make you do the pattern 6 times before we introduce the next ball. But if I were doing with kids, we would start with 1 ball, follow the same pattern, and maybe that's all we do that day is follow the same pattern, and maybe I introduce several balls. Like we juggle 5 at the same time, but we don't introduce another pattern. And then the next time we did the game, I would introduce another pattern.
So you could have, I think when we did it, I think we got up to 4 before we started to fall apart. And that's okay. Like we had a 1-week intensive, so they didn't have a lot of time to like mess around with us. It was like, I don't know what I don't even know if they had all balls. I can't remember what all we were throwing around the room. But it is important that you do different colors. Or like, I have like a Dora the Explorer ball somewhere in my room, and little Einstein. They all need to be different. All the balls need to be different so that they know this is the name ball, this is the color ball, this is the food ball, this is the number ball. So we can go around and number each other. So that way they know if I have this ball in my hand, this one goes to the people that I've numbered. And you also have to turn off everything else. You cannot worry about the other people in the room. The only thing I could worry about is I've got to throw it to Holly and then I got to throw it to Scotch. That's all I can think about. I couldn't keep up with worrying about other things that were going on. And it also makes them focus in a way that they aren't able to do usually.
So this, if I were doing this in my classroom, my justification for doing this would be to build
Team
skill building, collaboration, building a community.
Give and receive.
And you can also do it as, and here's the thing, once you have the basics, what you can do is introduce ways to make this review or apply. Like you could do characters from a novel, and everybody has to be a character from the novel that you're reading. Or you could be an event from the Civil War, or you could be, there's all sorts of applications. Once you get the pattern down and once you get the game down, there's all sorts of ways to make it applicable.
You could do like the order of a story.
Ooh, yeah.
Everybody gets on the order.
Yeah.
There's
You could do vocabulary
you could
words.
do vocabulary words. You could do, I think there are lots of opportunities. So we're going to show you kind of the fundamentals and give you some suggestions for opportunities, but then it's on you to kind of run with it and decide what you want to do.
When you say I don't introduce a new pattern, you mean like we had 2 patterns going?
You had 2 patterns
Okay,
going.
gotcha.
Yes.
I'm thinking for the young kids too, because I'm thinking, how would my kids do this? We could even start with tags, like I am Scotch. And you can write that on their little.
Please do that.
on their neck. But that would be a way that, like your first graders might be able to do it, because obviously they're probably not, but if they can see it.
They could do the names, yeah.
And you can half the group. In other words, you could just have 4 or 5 people, and one is watching, and then what you do to engage them is you say, what did you see? What did you see that was positive? And then, so one group models in the next. So if you have a class of 30, don't try to do this with 30 kids on the first day, because you're going to want to hit your head against the wall several times. So cut it in half to 15, let them watch, and then they'll want to be like, oh, I can do this better. And it's kind of a challenge, which is sort of against the